If you would like to know who the fairy godmother of skin is, who was also named as the most influential woman in Australia in 2023, then you're in the right place. You're about to meet Jacine Greenwood. Let's go. Jacine, it's an absolute honor to have you here with us. Could you tell us about Rococo Botanicals, please?
Thanks, Gary and Alison. So Rococo I started in 2011, but didn't start trading until 2013. And I started it simply because I couldn't find anything on the market for my horrendous skin, which is very acne prone and sensitive. And I just thought there has to be a better way, like to treat skin, because every product that I was buying, and I was a professional esthetician at that point. And I had invested so much money in postgraduate education. I'm like, why is my own skin still terrible if I've got all these professional products? And it was only after I started doing more advanced education that I realized the problem was the products. So it didn't matter how good my knowledge was. If the tools I had weren't the right tools to fix that, I was never going to get anywhere. And so for 6 months, I toyed with myself going, do I have the smarts to do this? So when I started, I wasn't a chemist. I literally self-taught myself cosmetic chemistry. And I have found out since in the industry that there's only a few other people that are like me where they've basically self-taught. And the way we approach things is quite different to a classically trained chemist. Now, I am a cosmetic chemist now, and I've got the qualifications, but I don't look at things the same way. And so when I've done my brand, I've really delved into the anatomy and physiology of skin functions, which for most people, that sounds really boring. But my theory is like, if you want to fix something, you must first understand it. If you don't understand it, then how on earth are you going to fix it? So to me, most of my time is spent researching and understanding the challenge and what's going on. And from there, I think to me, it's just intuitive. I just go, well, that goes with that. And I put it together. And then I'm always amazed at what I produce because I go, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. So it definitely is a bit of an art form. And obviously it's something I'm really good at. And it's one of those things that when we're really good at something and it comes naturally to us, we never really think of ourselves as good because for us it's easy, but everyone else looks from the outside going, oh my God, that's amazing. And I just sit there and go, oh, is it? So, but I love what I do. Like I never started my business for money. I started my business for impact and I wanted to change the industry. So I have trained thousands of estheticians in the US in particular on how to treat skin. I'm now training my chemists that are coming in how to manage an acne-prone skin with raw materials because they don't have any clue. They're not taught any of this stuff. And these are chemists who've been in the industry for 20 years and they still don't know this stuff because it's not something that's taught. And so for me being how I am, where I'm such a research nut, it's allowed me to become like cream in the industry. And as I say to my clinic owners, the way you become really good at anything is you are constantly learning about that one thing and improving yourself every single day. Because when you do that, you can't help but rise to the top. I mean, the average person doesn't learn anything new every day. So if you commit to doing 15 minutes of learning something new every day, you cannot help but in 12 months' time become one of the best in your industry, if not earlier, because most people don't do anything at all.
So
So
so true.
yeah.
But look, Jason, obviously you like being a disruptor, right? Disrupting an industry, rising to the top. When did you decide, or was it a decision, or to tell me more? Like, because it's not like you've just grown a little tiny brand that like you've blown up. So tell me a little bit, like, was that a decision you made? Did you always know you were going to blow it up? Or like, give us more about that side of things.
I honestly didn't like we're in 4 countries now, and I never expected to be in 4 countries when I started this brand. Um, like I got told in 2014 I was ahead of my time. And at the time when they were telling me this, I honestly, even in 2014, I did not have that same belief in my own ability as what I do now, because I only started the brand in 2013. And so when people were telling me that, I honestly thought they were just flattering my ego. I thought they're just telling me something nice so that I feel good. And I didn't really realize how much of a disruptor I was until 2019. And it was when I went to a chemist conference and I was showing them the results that we were getting with their raw materials. Now, what's interesting is they sell the same raw materials to other people and they don't get these results. So it's not even about the raw material, it's about the way things are put together and the way the formula is created. And that's where I suddenly started to realize, wow, this is really different. And I could tell when I showed the suppliers because they were quite visibly shocked. Like, you know, when you show them a photo and it's like they're picking the draw up off the ground. I was like, doesn't everyone get these results? And they went, no, they don't. So that's when I started to realize I had a bit of a gift with it. And I think it's because I grew up with both parents being priests, and I grew up with the whole thing of you don't make a big deal of yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't big note yourself. So I really had to break out of that concept of putting myself out there. And it was in 21 that I actually went, I need to put myself out there. And so on 21, I went on a massive campaign for publicity, putting myself out there, just, you know, and I had to keep telling myself, no one cares if the Prime Minister is on the news every day. Like, Jacine, just put your articles up. Like, because, you know, I would get news articles, I would get this, I would get that. And I started to worry that people would think, oh my God, this woman is so full of herself. But then I had to tell myself, don't worry about that. They don't pay your bills. They don't pay your staff wages. So it was 21 where I really just went, you just have to put it out there. And it's one of the things I love that Grant says, which has always come back, you know, like I was the world's best kept secret. And we're still in Australia, still trying to change that mentality. We're better known in the USA. But it's all about visibility, and you can't have visibility by not putting yourself out there, by not, you know, showing what you've done, showcasing what you've done, putting your articles out there. So that's what I've done. I've just, any opportunity that I can get for publicity, I clinch it to the point that in the second year I won the LA Awards, which is the Oscars of Cosmetic Innovation. That was last year. They even used my private, because I had my own film crew for the awards. They used my private video that I had done to advertise for the awards as well, which I was just like, wow.
Love it. Love it. Jacine, so the term the fairy godmother of skin. Now, clearly, based on your story, you're happy with that label. When did that label come out, and how did that?
That label came about, and probably it would have been about 21. I had one of my clients said to me, she said, "You're my fairy godmother," and I said, "I'm your what?" And she says, "You're my fairy godmother of skin." And she said, "Whenever I have a skin problem," she says, "I just come to you and you just fix it." And she said, "You know, I wish I had have known you 5 years earlier." And so I sort of just went, I'm just going to run with it. I'm just going to run with the fairy godmother of skin. Like, because I've had so many people say that to me, that they message me privately and go, if anyone can fix this, you can. And so I sort of got known with fixing really complex skin conditions. And so, yeah, I've popped it in news articles now. It's on. I've just really embraced it. And one of the things that I've you know always said to people too in business, you know, you've got to have something that differentiates you. And having that title of the fairy godmother of skin, like if you look at other chemists that are out there that have got a name, like Lab Muffin is not known by her name, she's known by Lab Muffin. And so having the title the fairy godmother of skin, people, even my own customers going, oh, she's the fairy godmother of skin. So they're all saying it now as well. And it just builds momentum. Like at the end of the day, like if I think of any rock star, they don't go by their own name, half of them. Like they have a pseudonym.
Yeah, yeah. Clearly that's a name that builds trust too.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, which
absolutely.
really matters. And the business name Rococo Botanicals, how did you come up with that name?
It was actually my daughter who came up with the name because honestly, we had such difficulty finding a name. Years ago, they would not allow you to buy domain names unless you're actually going to do a business. Now, people have just bought up domain names left, right, and center. And so it becomes really difficult to find a name that has the URL available, the Instagram available, the Facebook available. So she was actually in Europe and she said, what do you think of the name Rococo? It's a French style of architecture. And I thought, well, it's a bit like Coco Chanel, like it's a bit like rock boots. So I thought, oh, I quite like this. And so we've just sort of stuck with it. I didn't ever want my own name to be the brand, because I've seen other people do that, even though there is, Elizabeth Arden or what have you. Um, they're an iconic brand that had been going for years. I think for saleability, because at some point I will sell my business, for saleability, it's better not having my name. And I don't have like an exotic name. It's not like Napoleon Purtis, which is very exotic. Jacine Greenwood is very boring. So Rococo's perfect because it's actually quite easy to remember. There's actually quite a few other companies called Rococo, but not in cosmetics. So it's something people are familiar with. It's not like it's a foreign word, easy to remember. It fits the bill, unlike my first brand that no one could even pronounce the name, let alone remember it. So yeah, it worked out. It worked out quite well, and we've even had publicity that has spelt Rococo wrong. And everyone's been horrified and they're like, oh, they only spelled it with one C. Oh, it's great for SEO. If they're looking for me, they'll find me. So I never worried about it because I sit there and go, well, they're going to spell it wrong. And now I've got some SEO with the wrong spelling, which, they're all thinking, oh my God, this is a disaster. And I'm like, no, it's actually good. I said, this is SEO.
Yeah, people can find you anyway. Be omnipresent, right?
Right.
10x out of the 10x principles, and that is even with the wrong spelling. So,
Right.
Jacine, tell me how did you come into the world of 10x? How did Grant and 10x? How did Grant and 10x find you?
Well, I actually found Grant probably would be about 5 years ago. And at the time, I probably wasn't in the headspace. So I bought his book and I did buy some of his courses. And I obviously went through them, but not to the same degree as I have now. And then, as with all people, like I started coaching with Rudy Mauer, he's in the US. Now, Grant is his coach. And so when I went to Rudy's premise in Florida, there was Grant and, all over like his podcast area. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to check out Grant more. And so here I am meant to be on holiday in the UK. And I see Grant's ad for the 90-day revenue challenge. And thank God I've got a tolerant husband because here I am sitting on this bloody call and I'm signing up for it. And then I just said to him, we need something. So originally what got me on there was my sales team at the time. We were having challenges trying to train them up on sales. And even though I can sell quite successfully, no one's ever taught me how to do it, but everyone can improve, including myself. And so I signed up predominantly for help with the sales team originally, so that we could get them and get their mindset right, get their sales skills right. And it's been an absolute godsend now because my sales manager now, I feel like I can relax. I feel like she has got that under control, whereas previously I didn't feel like that. And so I felt like I was always having to hover. And so to be able to step back knowing that that area is being managed, and she has also transformed, can I be honest, in the 3 months that she's been listening to Grant's stuff. I've seen her go from not being as confident to being really confident to being quite assertive when that's not her natural state. And so it's been absolutely like such a pleasure seeing her grow and grow into that role. So yeah, it's been a godsend from that perspective, just for managing team, especially for remote team, because it's one thing that of all the coaching courses I've done, no one's ever given me that knowledge. And I think that's the thing that's been the best thing about the 10X is the resources that we have at our fingertips is second to none. And, you know, for what you've got access to help your team and you to grow, like there's nothing like this anywhere. I've never seen any other program, and I've done quite a lot of programs in coaching. And there's nothing like this. There's nothing, they might have the sales and marketing, but they don't have the mindset stuff. They don't have building your team. And you can't build an empire by yourself. Like you need team. So
100%.
yeah, so all of that stuff has been really, really good. And having the team go through it as well, so we're all on the same page, has been great as well. So they're not just going, oh my God, she's off on a tangent here. Why has she suddenly changed? It's like, yeah, so that them buying into it and realizing, hey, we need to change things has been really, really good. Just that support, yeah, from it. And yeah.
Jacine, you know, very successful 2023 most influential woman in Australia. You know, huge acknowledgement of the work that you're doing and the success you've created through your business. Tell me a little bit more about your mindset and your willingness, technically 13 years into your business, because you started, as you said, in 2011, but you opened your doors in 2013.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people by that stage, I know it all. As you said, you'd been coached, you'd already invested in that. But tell me more, please, about your mindset and your willingness to look at your own already successful business to take it to another level and have more impact ultimately, because that's what you said at the very start. You said, I'm someone who wants to have impact. And I'm assuming that that's got something to do with your answer.
Yeah. So like for me, mindset wise, I think we have to remain humble. Like one of the things that I've seen time and time again is when people get too arrogant, they fall. And it's because they start to become a know-it-all and they think there's nothing that they've got to learn. And the moment you feel like that, you're not going to grow anymore because your mind is closed and you're not open to ideas. For me, mindset-wise, I think that I would rather do regular, consistent action than a sprint. Like to me, it is what you do on a daily basis that forms your habits. And if nothing else, having had chronic pain over the last, because I'm about to go in for my 8th spinal surgery, if nothing else, chronic pain has taught me that, because you can't just go for gold. You've got to do work when you've got your moments where you're functioning. And so most people have the attitude, well, if I can't do it all, then I won't bother starting. Whereas my attitude is, well, if I can do 15 or 20 minutes, that's 15 or 20 minutes I hadn't done. And so it's incremental, consistent gains. And once you start doing something, it becomes a habit. And it's your habits that determine your business. It's not the actions, it's your habitual habits that will determine whether or not you fail. Things like, I tend to not leave things for tomorrow if I can get it done today, because tomorrow has its own problems. And so you put it off and you think, well, I'll do that tomorrow, but you don't know unless you've got a crystal ball. You don't know what's happening tomorrow. You might have another crisis or another challenge. And so I tend to do things straight away. I also tend to do things straight away because I will forget. So if I don't do it straight away, I'll go, I will try to remember that tomorrow, but I know if I do it straight away, it's my way of making sure that it gets done. But I think mindset's hugely critical. Like with Facebook ads, I got called out by Rudy actually, because I was scared of spending money and not getting a return. And so even though I'd grown the business to multi-millions, I didn't realize at the time that I still had this mindset I was more afraid. I was playing to not lose rather than playing to win.
Yeah.
Huge difference. And
Wow.
so just learning the rules of the game and understanding what's required for things can give you that bit of reassurance. And so we've literally got our Facebook ads running at the moment, and our Black Friday, within 2 days, we were only $10,000 off what we'd done for the entirety of Black Friday, and we've still got another 18 days to go. So that was when we started for this year. And we did something different to what we normally did. So, like, I think if you want a different result, you have to do something you've never done before. Because if you keep repeating the same actions, why are you going to get a different result? You've already tried that. It's not changed. So I've sort of said to the team, what can we do that's different that we haven't done before? And so for this time, we hyped our Black Friday sales. We've put an awful lot of effort into creating ad sets and copy. It was the most effort we've ever put into any marketing campaign. And it's obviously paid off. But now we're excited because, that's working really well. So now we're already thinking about December and going, well, what are we going to do for December? How are we going to do this? And I'd been holding myself back, even though I'd done webinars before and other things. For the first time ever, I started doing me talking on film for ads, which I'd shied away with a little bit. Predominantly because I actually struggle to look at the camera, which my daughter constantly reminds me of, you're not looking at the camera, Mum. And then I look back at all my videos, and none of my videos am I looking at the camera. So I'm just sitting there going, everyone doesn't care about that. They're not looking at where my eyes are looking. They're hearing the words that come out of my mouth. And so I think doing that has made me realize, oh, wow, I need to get out there more. I need to put myself out there more. And I think, in all honesty, I think the reason why I hadn't been doing it, and this is really hard to say, is because I've gained so much weight from all these spinal surgeries. Like, I was tiny before, like size 8, 58 kilos. And like, I have nearly, not quite, doubled in size. And so I think it's that having to rethink my own, my view of myself and who I am. And my husband met me as I am, so he doesn't care. But it's just me rethinking my own view of myself and being okay with it.
Yes.
And it's quite funny because here I am thinking that, oh, I don't look as glamorous as some brand owners do. And yet my own customers, when they've seen me and they've said to the clinic owners, they go, oh, she's just like us. She's a normal woman. And they're like, oh, thank God. And it's actually quite funny because here I am thinking they expect me to be a certain way, and they're actually reassured that I'm literally just like them. So
It's a funny thing that I think, that relatability piece, right? Because
yeah,
people want to do business with people. And then I also love that, you've said, and I'm aware of how successful this campaign is going. And I think it's because you are putting your face out there so much, which is a key difference. But you're already looking at, okay, what next, which I think is awesome. Repeat successful actions, big part of 10X principles, right? Do more of what is working. And if things aren't working, that's when you change things, but you want to repeat the things that are working. So it's exciting that you're already at that point of, okay, well, this is working. You've got 18 more days to bring as much in as you can, but let's start looking at how can we repeat that. So a question for you, because obviously, you didn't necessarily need a coach, right? But why have a coach? What do you think the main benefits for you? You've talked about your team. I get having everyone on the same page. Absolutely, I understand that, and I've also seen the alignment come to to fruition as well. I also know as you went through that, because you were drowning underneath the work, feeling like you had to control every little piece of your business. And the way you had your organizational structure was exactly that. So I know you made a lot of changes around that as well. But why get a coach? Why do you think it's important that a business owner has a coach?
To me, anyone who's ever achieved anything great has a coach. Like, you look at every athlete, if they were capable of getting themselves and bringing the best in themselves out, they wouldn't have a coach. A coach is there to call you out on your bullshit, because we all have our own bullshit that we talk to ourselves about. But also too, because they're external, they can look at your business objectively without the emotional attachment, and they can see stuff that we don't see because we're too much in our own way. And so having that objective view to look at your business, to go, hang on a minute, you're not doing this when you should be, or why are you doing this? Why are you tolerating this? Has been really, really good. Because I mean, as I said, I've had lots of coaches, but I like the fact too that there's always something I have to do each week. There's accountability. There's that this is what you have to do this week. And it's also guidance on, books and things and what is going to take me to the next level. Because in my mind, you're either growing or you're dying. So you're either taking the next level up, because if your business is staying the same year on year, you're dying because of inflation. You should be growing every single year. And if you're not, then you've got to go, well, why am I not growing? And I sit there and go, I've said this to other business owners, why wouldn't you want a bigger business? And half the time it's because of some limited mindset or belief that, well, if I do this, I have to work more hours, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And I just sit there and go, that's just their mindset. So why wouldn't you want to have it if it's about impact? Why wouldn't you want to have a bigger business? Because to me, my revenue is an indicator of my impact. That's all it is. It's an indicator of the impact I'm having in the market. So the bigger that number is, that tells me how many lives I'm impacting.
100%.
So that's what I look at with it. But to me, like a coach, without a coach, it's like mindset for me is a daily thing. I usually listen to something on mindset, whether it be Bob Proctor, whether I read a book or whatever. And I usually I do that before I go to bed, because then my brain is thinking about that when I go to sleep. But it's like showering. Once a day isn't enough. Like, if you are not constantly reaffirming your mindset, because most of us don't have always 100% of the people around us positive. And so for me, just that reaffirming of focusing on your vision. And I think it was Elon Musk that said it, that, when he nearly went bankrupt, he was so focused on where he wanted to go rather than looking at down, because sometimes you can look and go, when you're in the pit, think, oh my God, I could lose everything. And it is your mindset that either makes you get through that or tanks you. So for me, I think it's crucial, because it's mindset that makes you take that decision, take that calculated risk, or you don't take it because you're scared. So to me, it's huge. And, it's a huge part of it. You still need the strategy and the tactics as well, because I truly believe that even if you have a positive mindset, that isn't going to grow a business. Yeah. You still need the know-how, you still need the skills, you still need the guidance and the mentoring to, okay, well, this didn't work well. What do I change? What do I need to do with my ads differently? What do I need to do with this differently to get feedback? And I think it's that willingness to be constantly improving yourself. And as I said, being humble, because if you're not humble, you're not going to take the feedback.
100%. And everything you've been talking about is one of Grant's principles of massive action. And one of the key drivers for Alison and I with 10X Business Coaching Program Down Under is that we passionately believe that Australia and New Zealand businesses need 10X.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. And I'm just interested on your thoughts on that topic, about your experience of 10X and your experience of industry and businesses in Australia and business owners, and why you think they might need 10X.
I think most business owners, like in that book, The E-Myth, most business owners start a business thinking that, well, if I'm good at my craft, I'm going to be good at business, and that's not true. And I see so many people struggle with things, and it's because they don't know the fundamentals. Like you still need to know a little bit about accounting, you still need to know a little bit about marketing, because even if you outsource that, you need to know enough to know whether they're doing their job properly. Because if you don't, you're going to get taken for a ride. But I think the challenge with it is, and this is what I absolutely love about Grant Cardone, I'm very much about massive action as well. Now, some people call that hustle. I don't. It's massive aligned action. And so unfortunately, I think there's an epidemic of people who think they're going to grow an empire working 4 hours a week or 4 hours a day. And I'm sorry, but you need to put a lot of effort into getting a business off the ground. Once it's got its roots, then you can take a step back. But every business owner that I know who's achieved anything great has put in a lot of effort to get it there. And I think that's part of where the challenge is in the industry, is there's a lot of people who I want work-life balance. And I sit there and go, well, that's okay if you want that, but you aren't going to grow an empire. You're going to have a very small business that might pay your bills, but you're not going to get that much when you sell it at the end of the day, because it's not going to grow to anything major. And I think it's about being clear about what people want to start with. I've never been here to play small. I want to be in 30 countries. So for some people, that's like over the top, but I sit there and go, why wouldn't I be? I have a product that changes lives. Why would I not want to be everywhere? And I hope that my kids can see, with all of, what I've gone through and kept going with this business, that if you actually just keep going and you don't quit, you will succeed. As long as you keep asking for help, getting the guidance, keep doing the necessary steps. And if you make a mistake, you just learn one way not to do something. Like at the end of the day, like literally, we've just had our education portal go down because a previous person who was managing IT is not communicating with my new IT guy. And he's like, I can't believe they're not giving me the logins. I said, oh, well, now we just build a new one, a better one. And he's just like, you're not even perturbed by this. I'm like, why would I be? I'm like, let's just build something better and new, and let's just improve it. And he was just like, my God, like, but I said, why would I sweat and lose time over that? I can't change it.
No.
So I think also too, the mindset's crucial, because you have to pick your battles, choose what you can change and worry about that. If you can't change it, then don't sweat it, because you can't do anything anyway.
Well, as Grant talks about, there is no problem-free world in business. You
No.
want new problems, and you want to celebrate the new problems, because of that means you're progressing, you're growing, right?
Absolutely.
Just quickly, when you first got exposed to the 10x sales system, the wheel,
Yes.
being successful already in business, what sense did you make of that model?
It made a lot of sense to me. And I mean, for some of that, I was doing most of it anyway, but I think I had gotten in the last 12 months, in all honesty, busy in my business rather than working on it. And so it was just that whole thing of, it comes back to, it's about attention. The more attention you can get, the more leads you're going to get, the more whatever. And that's what I'd been working through with my sales girls, because they kept going, we need more leads, we need more leads. I said, no, you need to convert better. Because if I send you leads and you can't convert, I'm wasting my time. So we focused our thing on training the girls to convert better and going through objections and how do you handle this. And so for about 3 months, I actually mentored the team on how to overcome objections. And what do you say to this? And with my answers, I used to just record them because I do better verbatim than writing something down. And I just said to them, plus on top of that, I put subliminal messages on their computers. So I had subliminal messages going that said that they were excellent at sales, that they closed every deal. Any way that I could get their brains focused on sales. And we also got a bell in our office. We put a bell in our office so that when someone gets a sale, we ring it. And for the girls, our team in the USA, we Zoom them and we ring the bell so that they can see us ringing the bell. So we really celebrate it. But yeah, to me, like the program has been amazing. As I said, like it's probably the best program that I've ever seen because it doesn't just encompass marketing and sales, it's also team and leadership. And that's all the stuff the other programs don't cover. Like they don't cover any of that. And even if you get your revenue up, you've got to have that system and structure in place to be able to build other leaders within the team as well. So we've done, like, I loved this activity. Alison got me to do my future org chart. And I went, oh my God, it's a vision board with people, because I'm huge on vision boards too. And so I put it up and I had the whole team come in there and do it with me.
Wow.
So I got all the team in and we put I said, right, I want you to think about where you want to be in 5 years' time. What position do you want to be sitting in? So I got them to all think about what is it that they want to be? Where do they want to be in 5 years' time? And I mean, that's the exciting thing about being in a rapid growth company is you've got room for growth. I think most people's fear in a job is that they aren't going to go anywhere, that they're not going to progress. Whereas when you're in a rapidly growing company, there is room for growth, there is room for promotion, there is room for more responsibility. And most people love that if they're leaders.
Absolutely. And I think having that, being able to do that future org board, right, org chart, you give people an ascension model, right? Effectively, you're saying, hey, here, this is where this ship is going. And also for you as well, the foresight to go, these are all of the positions to add rather than me having to manage everything all of the time. So, such a brilliant exercise, but it's been it's a pleasure coaching you because you take massive action. It makes it then, a coaching relationship becomes very, you've got two people plowing towards that vision then, right? Like two people's energy, two people's efforts going towards that one vision. And it makes it such a strong thing to hold a business owner's eyes on the prize, right? No matter what noise, because there's always going to be noise. There's always going to be things that are going on. And we know that if you just keep refocusing on that vision, like you said earlier, yes, you still have to you can't just sit there and onto the universe and hope it will come together. You've got to take the action as well. And there's no doubt that you're a massive action person. I'd love to understand what does 10x mean to you?
So 10x to me isn't just about 10xing the revenue, although that is my goal by the end of June to 10x. So that's what we're aiming for. To me, 10x is also 10xing the systems. It's also like, because you can't have a rapid growth without having the correct system. So for me, 10x for me was also upgrading all my manufacturing equipment to automatic, because I literally dug my ditches and went, we are going to explode. And so I've acted as if we are going to explode because I know that's what's going to happen. It's also about 10xing the staff. And I've said this repeatedly to my team. I said, I want A players. I said, I'm not interested in C players here. I said, we are an A player team. I said, and that's all. I keep telling that it's a team effort. We want A players. This is the attitude we want. And if they don't fit with that or whatever, then I'll tell them that, because I don't want someone who's here for a paycheck. And what's actually funny is I've since found out, which I didn't know this originally, but some of my team members had offers of other jobs. Like, so when they took the job with me, they had 2 other job offers. And some of them have said, I chose you because I believe in you and what you're doing. And it's not the first time that it's been told to me, but I didn't realize how much of an impact it actually had with painting the vision of where we're going on future staff, because people who believe in what you're doing and where you're going will work harder because they're not there for a job. They're not there for a paycheck. They're there for the fulfillment and to see the company come together. So like we do share all of our wins with the whole team. Like when the team is going well, everyone knows. But I also too, like, at the end of this financial year, as I've said to them, like we plan on, if we hit our goal, the team are going on a holiday paid by me. So where we've got a goal at the end of it for them to go, this is what we're aiming for. And yeah, so they all know that, and it's public. Like I've made it public for them because I know this is where we're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing, Jacine. And it's so powerful to have the whole team on board like that. It's so powerful for you to be 10xing your manufacturing, 10xing your systems, as you said, which ultimately is the goal, is to 10x your revenue. Now,
Yeah.
clearly you've been willing throughout your whole journey to invest in yourself and invest in your business. One of the challenges of Australian businesses, particularly small businesses with 20 or less employees, is the lack of willingness of the business owner to invest in their growth and development, i.e., through a coach, as one example. What would you say to them if you could get them right in front of you right now about that mindset and taking that sort of action?
You will never grow more than your own version that you have of yourself. So if you don't have a vision of yourself that is up here, you're never going to grow more than what you think of yourself. And a good coach will help you grow and change your perception of yourself. In 2024, don't die, I invested over 300K in various coaches. It was also my biggest year of growth. That's not a coincidence. So some of those coaches I stayed with, some of them I didn't. And so what I do find with coaches is that I may learn certain things from them and then I move on because I am not getting anything more from them. And that's not in any way disrespectful to them. You level up and then you need a next person to take you to that next level. And so for me, like if you don't have a coach, how are you planning on being the best? Because you can't be. Because you're too focused on your own business. You don't have anyone objectively looking at what you're doing and how you could potentially improve it. I mean, Alison has called me out on numerous things that I do. And I was just like, yeah, she's right. And I appreciate and respect that tough love because I don't want a coach who's going to tell me what I want to hear. I want a coach to tell me what I need to know. And if people want coaches that are going to make them feel good, not that Alison doesn't make me feel good, but you know what I mean? Like if people are just after someone to tell them what they want to hear, then they're not the right coach because a coach should challenge you to be the best version of yourself. And that may sometimes be having some really tough, confronting conversations and calling you out on your own limiting beliefs or your bullshit that you're doing. To me, that's what I would want in a coach. And, as I've said to my husband, I said, the moment I stop whinging about children is the moment I don't care anymore. So if I'm saying something, it's because I actually care enough to say something. And so to me, I'm a bit tough love from that perspective as well at home. But yeah, to me, that's what you need. Whereas I've had coaches before that have gone, oh, you're doing amazing. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not actually. At the time, I wasn't doing amazing. And so rather than, I think the other thing that I love too is Alison comes up with ideas with me as well, whereas none of my other coaches have done that. So she starts thinking laterally, well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And so someone who can think and understands my business and can come up with ideas that potentially I haven't thought of, that's gold.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally what you need. You're like, well, what else can we do that we haven't done? So, yeah.
And so what are going to be, like you've mentioned, you're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you've got your website. one or two of the best ways for people to reach out if they're going, hey, I didn't even know you existed. I've got bad skin. I want some help. What's going to be the best ways for them to reach
Um,
out?
probably Facebook or Instagram on the Rococo Botanicals, because the staff will actually contact me and let me know. That'd probably be the best one. LinkedIn, I will confess, I'm not as active on as I normally am. I do go on at least once a week, but yeah, probably Facebook or Instagram would be the best one.
Fantastic. We'll have those links in the show notes for everyone.
Also, though, just one extra thing, though, people can jump on your website and directly interact, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so people can jump on the website, which we'll put in the show notes, and you can actually jump on there and ask questions and get immediate feedback. So, if you don't not wanting to have to wait for a response, if it's the weekend or after hours or whatever, you can jump on Jacine's website. So just so people know that
And
as
it's
well.
not a chat bot either. I hate chat bots.
Well,
It's a person.
we
Yeah.
just do a Coach Allison in the house. Get on the website. Don't forget the website. Coach Allison is in the house.
Well, never stop bringing gold, never stop calling for further promotion. Like that's what 10x is all about. Gotta promote.
And get attention, people. Jacine, we absolutely are delighted that you've spent so much time with us this evening in today's case. We really appreciate your time. It's a wonderful story. We want to rejoice in June 30, 2025 when you hit that 10x target. That's for sure. Let's go.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Jacine.